Hi everybody out there in cyberspace, I'm Sharif, and I'm here with productionhackers.net. So today I'm going to be talking about how to find your invincible value. Now there's a common thread that I noticed among different celebrities and different elite people and people who are successful and not even necessarily successful in wealth and finance, but in other areas of their life too. Let's say their physical fitness, just their ability to study, for instance, or hit certain records or achieve certain goals that are fantastic continuously. So what is this invincible value, as I call it? Is it one thing that you can do that's going to make everything work out? Well, that's the thing. Yes and no, in the sense that a big mistake, I think, that holds a lot of people back at a certain level is to think that there is one channel or one thing that's going to pretty much be everything, your end all and be all to get to where you want. And the reality is there could be maybe one thing for now that might enhance what you're doing, and then another thing later that can enhance it from there. But it's never really just one thing. It's usually a system of things, a world of things, multiple different things that you do that are interconnected and related together in your process, that when you're continuously managing and implementing and growing through that you're able to get towards your goal and your vision and the direction you're going in. So I basically put it really simply in terms of finding your invincible value, in that you simply have to make most of everything. Make the most of everything. I'll say that again. Make the most of everything. And that sounds really simplistic and easy and boring, and it doesn't seem like it would help much. But if you think about it and you don't just look at it in one way, then you will see how powerful this can be. When I say make the most of everything, I don't only mean the current resources you have. You see, some people, they're not in a very good situation. Let's say they're poor, let's say at the extreme, they're homeless, okay? But that doesn't mean that they can't get out of it. It doesn't mean that they will, and it doesn't mean that they won't worsen. But the truth is, every one of these situations exist. And if you look at someone who's, let's say, considered very successful in some way, let's say to keep it simple, monetarily successful, they're affluent, they're a millionaire, okay? You'll see one person who became a millionaire and who lost it all and never gained it back. That does exist. Situations like that occur where they somehow figured it out, they were in the right place at the right time doing the right thing, but then they weren't able to repeat it. And then you have people who, same thing happened, they got it and then they lost it all. They're back at square one or back at zero, or perhaps even gone into debt, but they find a way to make it again, and perhaps they keep going and they make it even better and more. They do better than they ever had. And this could be not even monetary stuff. It could be, let's say, you're winning in competitions. You end up winning a competition in your favorite sport or your current talent or skill that you're deeply involved in, but you're not able to maintain that status. You're not able to win again. It just, everything had seemed to line up and work that time, and your training and everything you put together, for some reason the stars aligned, but you were able to do it again. And worse, now you're out of shape because you got complacent, or you got depressed because you weren't able to keep up your game or whatever it is. So the point I'm trying to make is that there might be someone else who's not such a good sport person and who never, or not so good at that talent in those kind of competitions, and has been losing for years, but eventually they win. And the thing is, they're able to keep winning after that, and they're able to keep growing and keep their status up. And so what is that? So there's this pattern that I've noticed, like I said, and it's making use of everything. And you have to look at it more than just making use of only your environment or things like that, but you also got to look within yourself as well. Your environment's really important, but if you're not able to question yourself and say, am I making the most of my environment? And is what I think that is available to me in my environment really what's available to me? Maybe there's more or other things available I haven't considered. So I really have to make the most of my own facilities within myself, my thinking, my ways or attitude and behavior and patterns of assessing situations. That is really key and integral. Your judgment is going to be so important. Two people could read the same book, have the same resources, but one of them is going to get a lot more value out of it if they're focused on where they want to go, their direction, and they're aware of what and open to what might help them, whether it's something they had already thought of or a question they have, or the possibility that there's information out there that they haven't even thought of, but that is going to help them to the goal. But the point is, if they don't know where their goal is, they're not crystal clear of where they're trying to go, they're not going to get as much value. It's just going to be a bunch of information stacked, and then you're going to have to memorize it all, and you don't know what's of value and what's of not. And a lot of students may stress themselves out for that, or just people who are trying to study or learn something new, and they'll get overwhelmed for that reason because they don't have that target. They might have a general vague idea, I want to get good at something, or I want to learn something, or know something. But if you don't have that end goal or that higher mission, then you might be in trouble. And so another point, so that's one thing. You have to have that goal. You have to have that vision. You have to be able to, once again, make use of everything. Question yourself. And it's all about questioning. It's make use of your memory, your ability to think, your logical analysis, your ability to make connections, the ability to question yourself and your feelings, if they're really true, what you hold value in. Are you, in fact, embodying that right now with the things you're doing right now, with what you truly value in? Are the things you're doing right now today going to lead you to where you envision you want to go? Is the place you envision you want to go even accurate for yourself and what you really want? Or is it being clouded or influenced by some things you heard or believed about either the world around you, people around you, your own feelings, impulsive emotions, and just things you thought or taught yourself to think that you thought was right, but is not necessarily correct? So you really have to make the most of your facilities. One bum, or say a homeless person or someone who's in an unfortunate situation. I don't want to judge anybody. When I say something like bum, I'm not trying to be insulting or demeaning. I'm just trying to be clear and quick about what I'm speaking. But to be polite, someone who's not doing as well off, one person of that stature may be able to get out of it by considering, why is it some people are doing better than others? Why are some people in decline? Whether it be from the lower classes or the higher class. Why are some people on the incline no matter their class? Why are some people able to maintain their success and growth, and some people are up and down, and some people are just down, and some people are just stagnate? If you can ask these questions no matter what situation you're in, and you can observe, and you can think for yourself. I have a perfect little tidbit here, just as I'm doing this. You see, I did a few takes of this video, and I got really tired. I was kind of burning out. And you know what I did? I decided, okay, I'm going to stretch. And I focused on my groin, my legs, where I'm really tight. And gradually and slowly and carefully, I focused on stretching that more and more and just went in depth into that. And then I finally got to that point where I'm feeling, okay, this is where the real stretch is. So let's just stay here, calm, just let it work itself out. Stick with it, stay focused, stay calm and relaxed and all that and all that. And then I finally got a real good stretch out of it, a little bit of flexibility, like really focused, not just, okay, I got to a certain point, my stretching is done, or, focusing on stretching things that I know are easy to stretch, I'm already flexible. But focusing on that difficult, hard point, that actually gave me a ton of energy after that. I was fully energized. If you're, let's say, a bum and you've got stiff legs, you're going to have the same problem as someone who's sitting on a computer all day, or, someone who's got to stand all day and they can't, they don't have time to like stretch or lie down or raise their legs. All these different people in different situations, depending on their behaviors, can improve on it, whether it be in health or financial or what have you. So let's say, back to the bum, I have a perfect story that goes along with this. Even in my own first-hand experience, well, the first place I worked at was a door-to-door sort of type of sales type of business, where we'd go and sell people door-to-door. And one of the top managers at the company at the time, he, believe it or not, was actually once homeless, and he worked his way to eventually borrow or find or buy from the thrift store some kind of suit so that he could apply for the job as a salesman. He actually ended up telling them the truth and said that what he went through to get there. And they gave him the job. And eventually he learned the sales skills. He practiced every day. He did it every day. He was in and out on the work. He was dedicated. And he became one of the top managers. And the possibilities are endless, right? So don't assume that just because someone is in a good situation, they're going to be able to maintain or grow from there. Or that someone's in a bad situation, that there's no way out. And the same with you. Realize that you have to make the most of everything. Not just around you, like I said, but that's also important. But within you. To know the direction you need to go to, and therefore get the best value of what's around you, and know what resources make the most sense. And to be able to extract what's most important to you from those resources, or from, let's say, your current situation, your current environment right now, and what you're doing now, to reassess, to make sure you're not working only in your business or inside the steps to get towards the direction you are, but to make sure that you are going in the right direction, that step is the right step right now on your roadmap to get to where you're going to. You see, if you're only working in the business, if we're going to talk from a business sense, then what you're doing is you're only driving the car. But when you work on the business, you also make sure that you have the right car, that your car is designed in the right way, that it's not going to fall apart. You're making sure that you're maintaining and updating the car itself, not just making sure that you're driving there. You're making sure that you know how to drive, and you're making sure that you're following all the rules so you don't get in a car crash or in another problem on the way there, so that you can make it to your destination. You have to be crystal clear about your destination, like I said, but you also need to know how you're going to get there. What is the map? You're going to want a map, and you're going to need to know all the steps to get there. And while you're driving, let's say you take a turn, you have to reassess, did I make the right turn or the wrong turn? Because even if you keep driving, but you made a wrong turn, now look against the map, you're going in a completely different direction. That's why you always have to make use of everything. Some people say, okay, I got to study more. Okay, I got to work more. I got to strategize more. Well, the thing is, you have to do all of those things. I have to think outside of the box and innovate more. I have to maintain and manage more. Like I said, it's never one thing. So the real one thing that you can focus on is, am I making the most of everything? Is there something I haven't considered? And that's where all the questioning comes from. You question yourself. You question your environment. You question the validity of the information and resources and thinking you have and your feelings, and reassess and make sure that it is correct. Optimize, change, modify, and ensure that you're going where you want to go. And another thing I want to say is your goals themselves, making sure that you're not so limited in your goal, or that you don't try to have such a perfect idea of what kind of resources you're going to need and exact goals, to not be overly specified and limited in exactly what you want. You may have a goal of getting much higher than where you are right now, and you might have a specific goal, and then you want to target that, and then you work backwards from there and figure out all the steps to do that, and make sure you do them in the right order, and ensure that you're working on that right now in the best way possible, for sure. But at the same time, you never want to just make that your final ultimate thing, like some concrete higher goal that you have, and then it's done, and then that's finished. It can't be that all alone by itself. You also need a higher value, a higher mission, so that even if you attain that goal, which you're going to need to set and you're going to need to go towards, like I said, you also have something higher to go towards, and look at it that it's not limited to this, that, and that, what you think is a perfect, place to be, the amount of resources you have to question that and see, is it really, and is there more, and is there better, and is there something more appropriate for me? But you always got to get going, and you always got to be working on it. So that way, you never reach that sort of what I call, I call the golden straitjacket, but it's known as the golden handcuffs as well. And that's, let's say you went from the poor class into the middle class, and then you can't get up. It's really hard to go up, and that's often because you might be really happy with what you have, but you're not growing, you're not learning, you're stagnating, and eventually you're declining, which eventually is making you not so happy. Now, it could be just in another area of your life. Like I said, maybe you can improve on your relationships, for instance, or you could learn more about spirituality, your inner self, and things like that. You take up meditating or some kind of kung fu practice, a combination of both that works, coherently. whatever it is you do, you always need to be progressing. You always need to be improving. You can't leave your ambitions and your goals to be too limited. You need to have them and they need to be realistic and you need to figure out how to get there. But don't be so bogged down into the realism part of it. Now you need that rationality, that logic, so that you can figure out the steps against your current situation, really being self-aware of where you're really at and really evaluating. What you think you might be true might be wrong. What you think might be good about you might not be so good. What you think you not be very good at, in fact, you might be better than average. So you really have to always assess and calibrate and make the most of everything. So with that as your foundation, with your clear direction and vision, which you've evaluated properly, and your clear assessment of where you are now, and that positive perspective of making the most of what you have now to get there, and constantly, tracking where you are to ensure that you're still going in the right direction on your map or blueprint of where you're going, and using the right process, constantly optimizing and improving how you're getting there, driving better, more smoothly, more within the rules to avoid more problems and accidents, all that kind of thing. So once you have that, and all you have to do is be consistent and make sure that you are, consistent with your higher values, where you want to go, and with what it takes to get there, constantly improving on your understanding and your process and yourself in your practice. Anyway, so I hope that will help you to find your invincible value. If you like this kind of content, I can make more and go more in depth on the subjects you like. With any content you find on productionhackers.net, feel free to come back either in a YouTube comment, send me a message on Twitter by tagging me at Honorable Happy. I'll have it in the description below. And you can also check the article, the post based on this, or actually this video was based on the post on the website for a nice little summary of the kind of thing I'm talking about. And for more information, check out productionhackers.net for daily updates. And I've been Sharif, and I'll check you out next time. Take care. Bye.